The Compassionate Psychiatrist, Redefining Mental Health Care. This book is dedicated to all those who strive for excellence in providing care for those who have mental illness. The secretary directed me through a nearby door into the psychiatrist's office. As I went in the door closed behind me. Dr. Noyes stood up from behind a large wooden desk. He was a tall, thin man with fine, sandy hair and wire-rimmed glasses. He walked over, introduced himself, and shook my hand. He had a sophisticated manner, though understated, a gentleman of the old world, when civilities mattered and were clearly expected. Though he appeared to be in his 40s, he seemed older spiritually, a little tired and resigned to his profession's demands. At the time of our meeting, I was unaware of the importance this would have for my future, the lifeline it represented. As we sat down, I noticed a Boston fern on the corner of his desk. Staring at its tender leaves, I began explaining my unhappiness at being there. I don't trust you. I don't believe in psychiatry. It was not my idea to come and speak to you. Unfazed, Dr. Noyes began to ask questions. This book isn't about me. It's about those who took care of me for several decades as part of the psychiatry profession. I will only mention my story to keep the narrative coherent. I wrote articles and books on the subject of how spirituality is a major factor in recovery from mental illness and how, without my faith, I'd probably be dead. I also owe my recovery process to several key figures. Russell Noyes Jr., hereafter referred to as RN, was one such personality, a physician without whom I undoubtedly would have been homeless, starving, and without hope. Hope, then, is key, and RN was the embodiment of hope, offered as a sacrifice to heal the wounded soul. He said that God had called him to be a psychiatrist. He touched many lives, and I'm grateful to have known him. At one point, my mother said to me, "Dr. Noyes adopted you." She meant that as a psychiatric professional, he would do his utmost to see that I received the best care. This seemed to be the case because his unwavering and steadfast support helped me through many difficult circumstances for many years. I feel certain that other professionals might have given up, but with RN, I felt protected and safe. That this doctor had integrity and had kept his word no matter what. After he retired, I didn't feel so safe, even though I had a new psychiatrist, as though I was out in the real world now, all alone. I then found more support in my church. As a patient or client, however you choose to label those who have a mental illness in a healthcare setting, I offer my experiences and reflections here as a thought exercise for ways to develop a more therapeutic alliance with patients. The scope of the differences in implementing this care depends on a lot of things, such each factor specific to the clinical context and setting. To describe my perceptions of compassionate care from within the field of psychiatry, I've intertwined authentic medical records written by Dr. Noyes with my own reflections upon them. Not all the records are included, but a sampling to give an idea of the scope and the extent of the excellent care given by Dr. Noyes.